Recording in progress.
So welcome everyone to our strength class. It's Thursday, losing track of days. This is our third week. And then just announcements, of upcoming things. Next week, we do have Juneteenth. So we will be we won't have class on Thursday or Friday, and then if you're with me on Wednesdays, I already made that announcement too. So next week, if you happen to be in all my classes, we'll meet Monday, Tuesday, and Saturday, okay? So I'll send a reminder in case people forget or in case people aren't here. That's for next week. And other than that, I'll make sure to leave some recordings if you wish to continue with the workouts during those days that we don't meet. But other than that, yeah, it is getting warmer. Expect this is kind of mild still for summer. It really starts getting real warm, I'd say mid to late July, maybe even into August, because I remember September now being a warm month. So anyways, let's go ahead and start with our warm-up. So let's look left to right over here. Left to right. If anyone wants to give the Irvine Valley College enrollment a try again, fall classes just open in case you want to give that a shot. Up and down. I know it's a little bit more work to enroll than it is here at Santa Ana, but just mentioning it because I did get offered 4 classes to teach over there in the fall, so I'll be teaching over there Monday through Thursday. Next circles. And we're about 2 months out from the first week of classes for the fall. So if you really wanted to, you do have some time to get some assistance switch to enroll for those classes, and those classes are also free of charge. Alright, give me 1 second, keep going. My laptop just opened up a FIFA World Cup screen for some reason. Let's push up towards the ceiling. Yeah, this neck pain is I saw the most improvement from maybe Tuesday to yesterday, and then yesterday throughout the day got a little bit better, and today got a little bit better, but it was significantly improving on Tuesday. So I'm almost done with this annoying pain. Lean right. Let's go left. This is Snow Angels. Did anyone get I think I probably asked, but did anyone get lucky with any World Cup tickets? I saw my friend just gifted her husband tickets for the World Cup for tomorrow's game. Let's bring that right arm across. USA versus Paraguay. And I don't even want to ask or think about how much those tickets cost her. So that would be really expensive. Left arm across. I have my little fan here, but it has too much rotation. I wanted to just point at me, and it rotates almost a full 300 degrees. So when it gets back to me, it feels like it's forever. So right now it paused, so I just froze it at my direction. All right, trunk rotations. Keep going. No. Morning, Doris, Lisa, and Debbie. All right, let's do our ab circles. I feel a lot fresher after that shower and changing after my run. Maybe I should start doing that. I shouldn't just stay in my sweaty clothes after my run. I feel a lot more cleaner and relaxed and just a little bit more, I wouldn't say energized, but definitely fresher. Big hula hoops. This might be too much information, but back in college, I lived in an apartment complex that had about maybe 60 units, and it only had 2 washing machines and 2 dryers. And it's very convenient because it was down there, but the switch, it was very inconvenient because each unit had 4 rooms. So 4 times 6, so there's 240 people using 2 washers and dryers. So that washer and dryer, let's go ahead and do our quad stretch, was constantly being used, was constantly broken. So so I would find myself doing laundry in random times, like on a Tuesday afternoon or midnight on a Wednesday night. Like just random because it was always being used. So after a while, I lived there for 5 years, 6 years, 6 years. So after a while, I was just like, this is ridiculous. So what we would do, like the runners on the team, it wasn't just me, but the runners on the team, when we would shower or bathe, we would also take our running clothes and then just kind of wash it as we were going there and showering. So that's kind of how we did our laundry with our running clothes. So let's go ahead and do our hamstring stretch. Grab your ankles, drop down and up. Pretty sure we didn't do the best job at cleaning those, but we were 18, 19 years old. Alright, and last one is our deep squat stretch. Drop down. Oof. And rise. Alrighty. Very good. Any questions or before we start? Any comments? Okay, so we're gonna get this workout started. We will be needing dumbbells. What else? If you have a kettlebell, you could use a kettlebell, yoga mat, and your body weight. Okay. So I know we've been doing the name of this class is Strength Training Circuit. And I know we've been doing bigger circuits of like 4 or 5 exercises, calling them blocks or giant supersets, or giant sets, not supersets. So we're gonna go back. We used to do a bunch of supersets in the past. So supersets are just 2 movements. So we'll go with those. So we'll alternate 2 movements. And if they're quick enough and don't take too much time, then we'll do each of those supersets a second round right away. But if there are movements that take a little bit longer, we'll move on to the following set, okay? And if we get through all of them, then we will just start over from the top, all right? So go ahead and have that equipment ready. Have some water nearby too. And then remember with lifts, we usually get a little bit more rest. So we'll go about 30 to 40 seconds in between lifts for rest. And also if you have a loop band, we might actually use that. So if you have a loop band, mini band, you could use that too. If you don't know what that is, that's gonna be one of these bands. There's just a circle and they stretch. This one's the most heavy one, which doesn't stretch very much. So I'm not sure if I'm actually gonna use this because I don't think my legs are strong enough for that one right now. All right, great. So let's go ahead and start prepping for this workout. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do dumbbell standing neutral grip shoulder press. So that's gonna be right here, like you would finish a hammer curl at the top. That's where we're gonna start, and we're gonna press right there. That's gonna be our first movement, and then we're gonna do a dumbbell hold good morning. So you could do these sitting down on the chair. Just sit on the edge of the chair, separate your feet, or if you're doing them standing, you're here, you're hinging at the hip, back is nice and straight, come down and then back up. That's working on your lower back. Okay, so all right, I'll ask you folks after the first round if we want to do a second set of those. All right, so go ahead and grab your dumbbells. We're doing 10 to 12. So remember, you could start off with one hammer curl, stop at the end, and this is your starting position. All right, so remember, exhale on your way up, inhale on your way down, and repeat. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then for my stance, if I'm feeling good, I usually just stand here, but if my back starts to irritate me, what I usually do a split stance here. So that doesn't change the lift, it just changes your base for better comfort. One more. Very good. All right. Alright, so 30 seconds rest. So now we want to grab a dumbbell that we're going to hold here. And remember, we're going to hinge at the hip and come down. If we happen to get some back pain, or if you're not confident with the movement, you might want to skip it. But if you turn on your camera, I could correct your form too. So that's always an option. So and if you're quite not sure on the movement, you could just try your own body weight without any equipment, okay? Ready? And begin. So back is straight, hinge at your hips, down and up. So we're doing 10 of these. Pretty slow movement. Six. 7. 8. 9. Awesome. Very good. All right, what are we going to do? Move on to a new set or repeat that set again? First person that screams it out decides. You guys are so vocal today.
Repeat.
All right, there we go. We'll repeat. Thanks, Ella. Come on, folks. I know you folks aren't shy. Oh. So about 10 more seconds. So we'll repeat with the neutral grip shoulder press, okay? So if that first set felt a little too light, then maybe try doing a couple more repetitions on this next round, or slow it down and do it a little bit slower, okay? So that's 2 ways to modify the lift if you have no other equipment. Right, let's go ahead. We're here and begin. So Exhale on your way up, inhale on your way down. Oof. Go for 12. And 12. Oh. All right. Good work. I need to vacuum in here. Actually got my my Roomba. My little sister for our wedding gift got us a Roomba, and then we just upgraded into one of the more electrical like sweepers, and the Roomba started collecting dust. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna take that to the garage, but I haven't turned it on in a minute, so I'll turn it on in a little bit. Oof. That used to scare Jillian a lot when we first got it. All right, let's go ahead. All right, we have our good mornings. So remember this one, let's go with the same count. All right, so 8 to 10 on this one, and begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, nice work. Get 90 seconds rest in between. Okay, so nice job. Very good. All right, so next one's gonna be a reverse curl with the lateral lunge with the hold, okay? So reverse curl, remember, a regular curl, palms are facing the camera and they come up, okay? Reverse, you flip them and you come up this way, okay? So your palms are facing behind you for reverse curls. That's gonna target the triceps a little bit more. And you wanna make sure that you try not to extend your elbows out, okay? So you wanna make sure, try to really engage and keep that forearm right in front of you, okay? And then our lateral lunge, goblet style, so dumbbell here, step right, pause, and then drop your hips, okay? Then reset and do the other side for that, okay? So lateral lunges, we're doing 6 on each side. Reverse curls, we're doing 10. All right, so 30 more seconds. I can't remember the last time I used my lifting equipment. It's been close to a month. I'm too tired. All these classes and the running. So let's go with the reverse curls. So we're here and then come up. So if you recall for these, instead of wrapping my thumbs around here, I usually keep them on the same side with the rest of my fingers. That makes it a little bit easier for that wrist to not rotate. Very good. My friend posted a video of her daughter graduating high school yesterday, from my old high school where I graduated from, and it hit me that I graduated from that very same high school 20 years ago. And I'm just like, oh man, time flies. So. Do any of you have any relatives that, or nieces or nephews or grandkids that have gone to the same high school or schools that you went to? Okay, you got the lateral lunge. We're here. So remember, 6 of these. Who is that, Shavana?
Yeah, actually, I do. I have my nephew. They went. My cousin, family, nephews. Everybody went to the same school.
Oh wow.
We had some similar teachers.
Oh
Just
really?
kind of weird.
What school was that?
It was Torrance High School.
Torrance?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Is that near Crunch? No, but Western and like 190th? What is it?
It's on Carson Street. It was where 90210 was filmed.
Oh, okay, yeah. Isn't it like an old high school that supposedly is haunted?
No, I never heard anything about haunted.
Okay, maybe this is the wrong high school. I used to live out in that area, and Torrance. Okay. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, I went to El Camino. My nephew is also going to El Camino, which is kind of
cool. Yeah, I lived out there in Torrance actually when we went remote during COVID. So I would run by Torrance High School all the time. And then let's repeat this one a second time because especially that reverse curls we don't do very often, and I want to work on our lateral hips. So take about 45 seconds. That's cool. Yeah, that's a lot of folks. Yeah, only my sisters went to the same high school as I did. Who else? But yeah, my high school supposedly in the 1960s. They're like it was El Rancho High School in Pico Rivera. Every time I would bring that name up, you know, a lot of people would be like, "Oh man, they were so good in football back in the day." And but yeah, I mean that's all I know from my high school. I think I don't know if you know a rock band. Does anyone know a rock band called Twisted Sister? It's from like the 80s, maybe 90s. But they had this ridiculous like hairdo and makeup. I guess they filmed one of their videos at my high school. So, all right, let's go with our reverse curls. There we go. And begin. Yeah, at Long Beach where I coach, we're always asked to not come around the stadium maybe like once a month because there's some commercial being filmed there. So they rent out our stadium frequently, which is going to stop pretty soon because construction and demolition and construction is starting, I believe, in the next few months. So 10 of these. Yeah, but that friend, I don't even know if to call her that. It's kind of sad. But yeah, I guess the acquaintance now. And then we got our lateral lunges. She was one of my first new friends when I moved to Pico Rivera from Boyle Heights. And yeah, I think I met her in 4th grade. And we still kind of keep in contact a little bit. But yeah, it's wild. Got an 18, a high school graduate. And then my friend is 35. She just became a grandma a couple months ago. So we're gonna go, so we did that, did this. Right, and then our lateral lunge. So again, 6 on each side. So again, goblet style. If you have that weight, so step right, down, reset, Step left. Down. Continue. Yeah, right now.
Is there somewhat a little alternative to this? Because like my right knee hurts, so when I can't go down too much on my right side.
Yeah, so what that's gonna work out, it's gonna be the inside of your thigh and your glute too. So if we're really targeting that area, what you could do, it's really, we could go with the RDL, so slight bend at the knees and bring the dumbbells down and then up. So it's not getting
Okay.
the exact same muscle, but it is getting a part of it. So yeah, as long as that doesn't hurt, I think we might do that one in a little bit. So you could always just skip it or just focus on that left leg for now.
Okay.
Yeah. So it hurts with even if you just do your own body weight.
Yeah, it's my right knee is weak, so like I can't go down too much because then I.
Yeah. So instead of like maybe stepping far, maybe you just step a little bit closer, and then just kind of just drop your hips. And if you find that
Okay.
that irritates it, then yeah, we might just have to find a modification for that. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, you folks know your body, so if there's, you should know the difference between something being sore or being overworked or actually being injured. So, you know, don't don't walk on that thin line. So, all right, we have our dumbbell underhand front raises. So that's with our dumbbells here. We bring them up. That's gonna work on our shoulders and our chest. And then we have our dumbbell single leg Romanian deadlift. So this is what I was talking about. So this is gonna be the single leg. The next one that we do, this one's gonna be either your foot is elevated, or you could just tap your toes behind you with one leg. And we have our dumbbells here, and we go down and up, okay? And then we switch, and we'll do the other leg. So, but first we're doing the underhand front raises. All right, so about 20 more seconds. All right, let me grab my other weights. All right, here we go. Ready? And begin. So out here, up front, back. 2. Remember, the palms are facing the screen. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Whew. All right, so the Romanian RDL, so single leg RDLs. Remember for this one, it's like our hamstring stretch where we go down, but slight bend at the knees. Dumbbells go down, but the difference this time is we're gonna step with one foot behind us, so we're putting most of the pressure on that leg that's right below us, not behind us. Okay, so we're gonna do this, and then you'll also, it is gonna require a little bit of balance, so just keep that in mind. If you want to eliminate some of the balance work out of it, what you could do is you could step out instead of being right behind you and doing this. You could step out, and that's just gonna make your base a little bit wider, so it should eliminate some of the balance. Okay. All right. So grab your dumbbells. All right. And if you have great balance, you could even elevate that foot. All right. We're gonna do 8 of these. Okay. Ready and begin. So slowly down, slight bend at the knees, and come back down. So you want to hinge, just like on the good mornings we did earlier. 2. So it should take about 3 seconds on the way down, another 2 or 3 seconds on the way up. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Awesome. All right. If you're ready, we could do the other side. Okay. And begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Oof. All right, so take a little bit of a break, 1-minute break, and then we're gonna repeat that set one more time. Okay. All right. I'll give you folks an option. If you wanna skip the underhand front raises, what you can do is a bent over row over here. Okay. So I'll give that as an option. I know we did that one on Tuesday, but if you enjoy that one over the underhand front raises, you have that option. So I'm gonna stick with the underhand, me personally. But then we'll do the same with the single leg RDLs. All right, ready? So underhand front raises or our bent over rows. Okay, ready and begin. So 10 of each. Ooh. 30 seconds rest once you're done. I'm gonna go with some heavier weights for the RDLs. All right, let's go ahead, grab those dumbbells. And remember, we have 8 on each leg, okay? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, when you're ready, you can switch to the other leg. Ooh, that one beat me up a little. 1, 2, whoa, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Woof. Good work. All right, we have time for another superset. I'll give you folks the options that we have, okay? So 90 seconds rest right now. All right, so we have dumbbell poliquin lateral raises. So that's here, here, here with chair squats. Or we have on the floor, we have push-ups with glute bridges and some hip cars, which is when we are in the quadruped position, but we do our leg stuff. So pretty much it comes down to, do we want to be standing up or on the floor? Let me know.
Floor. I will floor.
Let's go, floor. Shavana wins. All right, so let's set up our yoga mat. Yeah, sometimes just being on your feet for the whole duration of the workout, I feel my back a little bit, getting a little tender, so the floor should alleviate a little bit of that. Okay. So we have push-ups, so either knee-assisted push-ups or traditional push-ups. Fine with either of those. Okay, so we're doing 10 of those. So whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and begin with the push-ups. So 10 push-ups and begin. Alright, and when you're done, get off your arms because we will need your arms for our quadruped straight leg circles. Okay, so just on your arms to recover. Alright, and then once you're done, you could transition to a sit-up position. Okay. So we're not doing sit-ups, we're doing glute bridges. So for this one, you can have your hands under your back or to your side, but you bring your hips off the floor, squeeze the glutes, and then come back down. Right, so we're doing 10 of those with the 1 to 2 second squeeze of the glutes. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, and go. And back down. Up. 1, 2, 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 down. 5 more. Up. 1, 2, down. 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 And last one. Up. 1, 2, down. Oof. All right. So for the last one, this is the quadruped hip car. That's we get here on our fours. We're gonna look down. So what you're gonna do is bring your right leg up like a fire hydrant, then swing it back. Once it's behind you, lift up, and then reset, okay? So again, to the side, kick back, and up. So if you missed any of that, pretty much what we want to do is move that leg around the hip joint as many angles as we can. So a good way to do that is out, back, and then up. Okay, so if you forget any of that or the rotation of it, as long as you're moving your leg, you're good. Okay, but if you can, let's try to follow that sequence. All right, and we're doing 5 of these on each leg. Ready, and begin. And then you reset. So out, back, up, down, or side, back, up, reset, side, back, up, and down, side, back, up, down, side, back, up, and down. All right, rest your legs. Ooh. How do I feel about that one? I felt like that worked on my glute. I don't know if anyone else felt that. All right, and our last one, our left side.
Felt good on the hip.
Good. All right, so let's do the same sequence. So side, back, up, and then down. All right, go. Side, back, up, down, side, back, up, down, side, back, up, down, side, back, up, down. 2 more. Down, last one. Very good. All right, folks. Nice job. Not too bad. Not as taxing cardio-wise, but we hit all the muscle groups: shoulders, arms, chest, back, legs, glutes, lower legs. So I'm gonna end this recording. If you're on my next class, we will be